Hi, and welcome to this episode on CX benchmarks of India's top neobanks. We continue the conversation with Varnika Goel, lead analyst with Twimbit, who carried out this extensive study reviewing 13 of India's leading neobanks, how easy or difficult it was to open a bank account with these neobanks. Today, we are going to address a single question. How fast is it to open a bank account with any of these neobanks in India? So, Varnika, welcome. You know what? I remember opening a bank account way back. I should not tell you which year, but it took a long time. I had to get my dad's friend. He had to recommend. In fact, he accompanied me to the bank account, and it was a pretty long process. Not something anybody look forward to. Is it much simpler today? Is opening a bank account as easy as signing up for Twimbit.com?
Thank you, Manoj. It is not that easy, honestly. It takes a little bit of time. It still definitely moved from those traditional structures of going to the branch, having a recommendation reference, and then going through the entire physical process of opening an account. But now you can do it digitally thanks to these neobanks in India. However, it is not that easy that we get it as we sign on to Twimbit. It takes about 15-20 minutes at least to register for an account, activate an account, at least from a limited standpoint. If you've done a limited know your customer remediation, you'll be able to activate a limited transaction limit account. However, not the full account, but it is still much easier from the traditional ways of opening an account.
So the limited KYC 20 minutes, the full KYC much longer.
Much longer, yes. So I wouldn't say it is still those days where a full KYC will be a day-long process or a week-long process or more than that. It is still a few minutes process. If it's done within the app itself, it is happening. The government has regulated that you can do an in-app video KYC. So if you're doing that, it's few minutes, but it's few additional minutes along with the 20 minutes that you take to complete your journey of filling out your information and activating your account.
So if you were to break down the steps, when you look at the entire step, how many steps are there? And where is that point of friction or the biggest points of friction? So in opening and getting the account activated.
Definitely. So it takes about, on an average, from 8 to 12 steps. The maximum that you can reach out is 14 to 15 steps. But what after studying all these 13 banks, what we realized was the average of pulling all your information, doing your limited KYC is not more than 8 to 12 steps. However, there are certain banks, I will bucket them into two categories. The one which are limited KYC neobanks who like to create the engagement for the customer first, open a zero balance account, give them the feel of their interface, give them the flexibility of playing around with the bank account a bit, and then go ahead and ask them to do a full KYC if they exceed their transactions more than 2 lakh. But then there are some, again, a traditional infrastructure a little bit and going a little safer, which is the banks who want to conduct the full KYC first and then start the customer journey. And then there are exceptions to this, which are likes of Airtel and Payment, who give the option of both, that you can first play around, but you can also do a full KYC. So depending upon what your choice is as a bank account, they give them upfront that you can do a limited or you can go for a full KYC. So there are exceptions to the rule, but majorly the banks fall into these two categories.
So where is the biggest point of friction? Is it really the KYC part which is the biggest point of friction, and wherein lies the opportunity to innovate as well?
Definitely. So we feel that both from a limited standpoint and from a full KYC standpoint, they both have their sets of friction. What I feel is that full KYC involves more friction as compared to the limited one, because in the limited one, you just need to upload your documents, verify yourself through a selfie or a biometric, a fingerprint, and then it moves on. But for a full KYC, you need to wait for first booking yourself for a video KYC. The executive will call you. You have to wait for the line to be available. There might be longer waiting lines over there, or you ask a person to come home, which takes about 1 to 2 business days for a person to come home and conduct a verification. Or finally, you have to either visit any dedicated center to conduct your verification. In all, there is a chance that you will be increasing your time to activate an account from more than 2 hours to 2 days or 5 days, depending upon the availability, right? If you're opting for somebody to come over, or you're planning to go to some a dedicated center to conduct your KYC. So that's where the banks need to really innovate. And even I feel that in this case, the government also has to come up with a more relaxed form of KYC, or maybe a more inclusive policy where the full KYC can be done sitting at home through the application in a less frictionless manner, where the consumer does not have to wait for for a too long line to conduct the video KYC, if that has to be as mandated. And for the limited one, what I feel is that because the opportunity lies in actually accessing all that information, it's a centralized information of the consumer. It's a unique identification number for the consumer. The Aadhaar number is available in the central database, the PAN card is available. Why don't the bank and the government allow pulling out that information from that central database and getting verified from the customer, either through biometrics or using your OTP, or from an Aadhaar enabled OTP, which comes from the government itself, and removes the friction of the customer adding all that information, uploading the documents. I think that will reduce the time taken to actually open a limited KYC account. It will
Yeah,
maybe be for less than 20 minutes.
yeah. I think, and it can really open up the way for a large part of unbanked India to get banked and start using banking services a lot more. So, Varnika, based on everything you have done, so who are the absolute winners in terms of the fastest to open a bank account?
See, I think all the banks who are giving the opportunity to the customer to open a limited KYC account, which is the likes of Walrus, Lice, Finin, FamPay, these guys are winners for me because they give the option to the customer to play around with their application, get comfortable with their interface, see how they're enjoying their interface, and experience the transaction, the services, what all is there in their purview. And then get into the concept of, if the customer is engaged with the bank, it will definitely go ahead and do the full KYC because they want to stay and they want to continue their relationship with the bank. So for me, in that case, definitely these guys become the winners. But it is also the choice sometimes of the customer who wants safety before and wants to go full out and use all the features of the bank, and in that case wants to go ahead and do the full KYC. And I think in that respect, the ATM and the Airtel are the clear winners, because even though they have the option of more options of offline remediation, the video KYC option is much more robust as compared to the likes of any other neobank that we saw, where we couldn't get through their video KYC option.
Hmm. And so great, Varnika. So I think that's a very comprehensive, clear view on what is best in class. So what is the future? How should opening a bank account be according to you? As you look into the future, what should be that ideal process? What is that desired state?
I think for me, that desired state would be moving away from all these 14 steps or 12 steps or 8 steps. It should be as easy as signing on to Twimbit. We do a single sign on, we add our email ID, whether it's linked to a LinkedIn or our Gmail, and that's it. And we are there, and that all that information that is regarding us is verified through the central database, and we can authenticate that using our biometrics. I think biometrics is one of the safest methods, whether you're recognizing it through your facial biometrics or through your fingerprint biometric. You do that, and you at least are able to start transacting. And then it's more about exploring the application, exploring what types of services you have, what kind of third party services you can redeem, what kind of discounts, rewards, all that kind of customization, hyper connectivity starts coming in.
Thank you very much, Varnika, for that very insightful conversation on how fast you can open a bank account. So the answer is, guys, 20 minutes to open a limited KYC, and maybe a little longer for that full-fledged KYC, full-service account. So that's great. I think do look up our previous 2 episodes where we talk more about the specific benchmarks. In the next episode, we will talk about what does it take to be the digital bank of tomorrow. We'll do some provocatively challenging thinking and brainstorming on what can we expect, where can we expect these banks to be 5 years from today, how seamlessly will they integrate into our daily lives. With that, thank you and goodbye.
Thank you, Manoj.